Hi, this is Pat from fandraftic.com, and this is an overview video about Fandraftic regarding what it is and giving a basic walkthrough of how it's used. So what is Fandraftic? Fandraftic is a web application that was created to make the process of fantasy drafting easier and more effective. The goal was to get rid of the hassle of multiple printed player rankings that don't really have any relation to your league and its scoring, as well as avoiding the hassle of crossing off names from one list as players are drafted and writing down the players you draft onto another list. We just want to have one site where we can set up the scoring and league information for all our leagues and be presented with a simple and easy to understand ranked list of players that not only remains up to date as our draft goes on, but is also relevant to the scoring and roster settings of our specific leagues. So what exactly does Fandraftic do? First, it allows you to keep all the information about your draft at your fingertips. So while using the site, you should always know which players are still available, the ranking of those players and how they compare to the other available players, which positions on your team you still have to fill, and what your opponent's teams look like. Secondly, Fandraftic applies other sites' projections to your league settings. So there are no generic rankings. These rankings are built according to your league scoring and roster requirements. Now in this video, we're just going to be talking about the main page and what the data represents, and then we'll follow up with more detailed instructions in further videos. So let's get started. All right, so what we've got here is the main page that we see when we log into Fandraftic. We basically have a list of players ordered by their ranking. But what do most of these things mean? We're just going to walk through some of them real quick. This box up here in the corner should display the number of those positions that are taken already in the draft. So for instance, the number taken is the total number of each of those positions that players have been drafted in. So if there were 8 quarterbacks drafted already, there would be an 8 in the quarterback column. The my taken is similar, except it applies only to the players on your team. So if you've got 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, and 3 wide receivers already drafted, it will show 1, 2, 3 in those columns for the my taken row. On to the next box, the current pick info. Since the draft hasn't started yet, we're on the first pick, which is round 1, pick 1, and team 1 is the team that's responsible for making this pick. That team information is fully customizable, so if your buddy John has the first pick, you can put that in there, John's team. So when it comes up, you'll always know that John's on the clock. This next box is a filter that allows you to change what's displaying in this main pane here. So if you are interested in only seeing wide receivers, you change the position filter to wide receiver, you hit filter, you're only shown wide receivers. If you're only interested in quarterbacks that are ranked in round 5 and before, we change the round filter to 5. We change the position filter to quarterback. We hit filter, and we can see these are the quarterbacks that are ranked according to their ranking, should be drafted in the 5th round or before. To go back, it defaults to show all rounds, show all positions. Just hit filter again. It'll move right back. So what are these columns? ADP. For those of you who don't know, ADP is average draft position, meaning from all the drafts that have taken place that we have data from, and we get our draft or ADP information from some of the major sites such as Yahoo, Sportsline, ESPN. They're saying Adrian Peterson is going with the first pick in most fantasy drafts that they have. Of course, it's just an average. This isn't exact. That's not exactly where they'll go, but they should probably, if your draft is similar to the ones that have been occurring, they should go around there. And if we get down here, we can see, for instance, Reggie Bush he has an ADP of 24, but it's green. Why is that green? Well, the reason it's green is it's comparing his draft position to his rank. So he's ranked the 16th best player according to the scoring that's in place here and the roster limits that are in place here, but he's being picked as the 24th overall player. So what this is saying, this is someone you may be able to wait on. It's pretty close, so you wouldn't be able to wait more than an extra round, unfortunately. But you might be able to get extra value by picking Reggie Bush a little later than his ranking would show. And that's depending on if your league is going to draft as similarly to how normal drafts or drafts that our ADP information comes from. So rank, obviously pretty straightforward. That's their position as to the best players ranked number one, worst player has the worst ranking. The value field. Now, if you've searched around the web for a lot of fantasy football stuff, you've probably come across the idea of value-based drafting, where it's comparing separate positions. So trying to find out a way, how would you compare a running back to a wide receiver? And the idea was by finding out how much those players will outscore their peers. So this number is how the ranking is built. So if you've got the highest value number has the best rank. But it also gives you an idea of how much better a player is than another player. So for instance, Adrian Peterson, although he's the number one on this list, has about, 18 points better of value than Adrian Peterson, or than Arian Foster. But if we come down to Reggie Bush and Maurice Jones-Drew, we can see they're only one ranking apart, but their value is basically the same. We just got 3/100ths of a point. So these players are almost interchangeable, whereas Adrian Peterson and Arian Foster, or Adrian Peterson and Doug Martin, according to the scoring system that we're using, would not be as close as their rank may make them look. As you can see, all of the player names are links. If you click on this, it'll bring you to their NFL.com profile page, so you can get information about previous year stats, latest news on them, etc. The next thing over here is looks like a little notepad with a pen or pencil, and that's because that's exactly what this is. It's for keeping notes on given players. So if you read some information about Jamal Charles, you remember that the news just came out that he seemed to have injured his foot. So you can click on that. You can put Jamal Charles injured foot, save the note, close the window. Now in your draft, you've got a visual indicator that you've got a note there. You can click on that during your draft and say, oh yeah, that's what I want to remember about them. And there are countless things you could put in there. Next, the next row over, or the next column over, shows the team name. Then there's a slash and the bye week. So some people get really into making sure all their players don't have the same bye week. Other people would like to kind of get the bye week out of the way at once, and they'd rather have one bad week than kind of a team that is always missing one or two players every week. It's all kind of a personal preference, but that's where that information is kept. Next column shows the position, and as you'll notice, the positions are color coded, just kind of making it for an easy visual indicator of what position is where. So as you're in the draft, you may say, okay, I want to find out what the best the running back still available is. And you may be down here. You can just look down until you see the first blue, and that's the player you're looking for. The next column here, view projections. Now this gets into the data behind the scenes. So if we click on the view projections, it pops up a screen showing us each of the projection sources that are chosen for this league. And in this one, we have the three guys from CBS Sportsline. And it shows how they project this player is going to do this year. And at the end, it shows you the points, if those projections are true, the points they should score according to your league scoring. That's kind of helpful in allowing you to see if there's a single projector or a single projection that seems to be way out of whack with others, and you may want to change your projections. It's all up to, again, it's personal choice on how you use that data, but I find it helpful a lot to kind of look through and kind of get an idea if everyone's on the same page, if it looks like there's consistent values for what they think that player is going to do, or if there's wild swinging values that you really can't be sure how that player is going to perform. The last column shows the player drafted button. Now what this is used for is as your draft is going on and players are being drafted, you will click the player drafted button. And as we'll do that right here with Adrian Peterson, and you'll see Adrian Peterson disappears. He's gone to the first team has selected him. We can see now the number taken fields have updated. The running back field is 1. My taken is number 1. That's because I've listed myself as the first, my team being the first team to pick. So if we picked another one here, say Arian Foster, and Doug Martin, Jamal Charles, we can see all these update. So now running backs, there have been 4 running backs selected. My taken, I only have 1 running back on my team. We can see that we're now currently pick 5, round 1, pick 5, and team 5 is on the clock. We can also view those by doing the view all picks. This will show the order the players were taken. The highlighted team is my team, so I can easily see the players I've chosen. If I've made a mistake, there's the untake button. I can click that. They disappear from this list, and we go back to the view players sorted by rank. We can see Jamal Charles back out to be drafted again. So that's how you correct an issue. We've also got the view my picks button, which will just show the players from your team. So that's just a quick look at your team. We also have under the picks the draft board, which I find the most useful. So we can see we've got a 12-team league set up here, and this is the first pick of these teams went Adrian Peterson, Arian Foster, Doug Martin. So now if we go back to the ranking, let's see if we can get through, select enough people to get through a round or two. And we can see now we're back to team 8. It's time to pick. Let's go with the draft board, and we can see the picks went all the way this way to team 12 and started coming back towards me at team 1. Very good visual indicator of what the players the other teams have already drafted. We can reset all the picks, say we want to start over. Reset all picks, everything starts new. So that's all we're going to go into for this video here. We'll have another video where we get more into depth on the specific settings that you set. But I hope you enjoyed this, and hope it gave you a better view on how you can use fandraftic.com. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot us an email at football@fandraftic.com, and we try and respond to those quickly, and we're always interested in feedback. Thanks a lot.